Hello everyone, welcome to lecture series on digital communication. Today we are going to discuss chapter number 2, baseband modulation schemes. Baseband means we are going to discuss with the lower frequency modulation schemes. The outcomes of this unit is describe and analyze digital pulse modulation schemes, various pulse modulation schemes, and analyze digital modulation schemes and understand the reception of digital signals. Not only the transmission, how we are going to receive the signals, we are going to analyze in this unit. Now we are going to discuss various types of modulation, right? Continuous wave modulation, which we are already discussed in the analog communication, and pulse modulation schemes we are going to discuss in this chapter. We will revise the continuous wave modulation for some time and we will go to pulse modulation schemes, right? Continuous wave modulation is defined as the characteristics of the carrier signal is varied with respect to the instantaneous values of the message signals. The characteristics means amplitude, frequency, phase. These are the characteristics of the carrier signal. If the amplitude of the carrier signal is varied with respect to the message signal, is called as amplitude modulation. The frequency of the carrier signal is varied with respect to the instantaneous values of the message signal, is called as frequency modulation. If the phase of the carrier signal is varied with respect to the instantaneous values of the message signal, is called as phase modulation. These three comes under continuous wave modulation. The continuous means the message signal is continuous, the carrier signal is also continuous, both are in sinusoidal in nature. Then we can call it as continuous wave modulation. When it comes to pulse modulation, it is subdivided into analog modulation and digital modulation. In the analog, pulse modulation is again divided as pulse amplitude modulation, pulse width modulation, pulse position modulation. The difference between the analog modulation here and in the continuous wave modulation is in continuous wave the message signal is a sinusoidal one, low frequency signal, and the carrier signal is high frequency signal. This is also a sinusoidal signal. Both are continuous in nature. Continuous means the signal is continuous in time domain, continuous in amplitude domain. Right? In both domains it is continuous. Discrete means the signal is continuous in amplitude, that means m of t domain. There is no signal in this duration, that means it is discrete in this portion, it is discrete in this portion, it is discrete in this portion. Right? No signal in this domain, time domain. Right? Now it is continuous in both y axis and x axis, and it is continuous in y axis and x axis it is discrete. Continuous means in both domains it is continuous. Discrete means in one domain or in one axis it is continuous, other axis it is discrete. Digital means in both domains it is discontinuous. So, no comparison from signal 1 to signal 3. From signal 1 to signal 2, amplitude is continuous. From signal 1 to signal 3, both y axis as well as x axis it is discontinuous. If any signal is discontinuous in both x and y axis, and it is digital signal, right? It is digital signal. When the signal is discontinuous in both the domains like x and y axis, it is digital signal. Now, the basic difference between pulse analog modulation to the continuous modulation is the carrier signal. In the continuous wave modulation, we have used sinusoidal signal as a carrier. In the pulse analog modulation, we are going to use a pulse train as a carrier signal. Now, the message signal is same, only the carrier is changed from continuous wave modulation to pulse analog modulation. And now, we will see what is pulse modulation. Pulse modulation is nothing but signal transmitted in the form of pulses. That is it, signal transmitted in the form of pulses. Now, we will see how it is represented in the form of signal. Now, these pulses are transmitted in the phase space or in the cable. That is it. Now, we will see different types of pulse modulation schemes. They are pulse amplitude modulation, pulse width modulation, pulse position modulation. Now, for these modulations, we need a message signal as a sinusoidal in form, and carrier is in the pulse form. Message signal is sinusoidal, carrier is in the pulse form. In the continuous wave modulation, the carrier is sinusoidal, whereas in the pulse modulation, the carrier is pulse signal. That is only the change. Now, we will see what is pulse amplitude modulation, right. Now, what is the carrier we are using? Pulsed carrier, right. The amplitude of pulsed carrier signal changed according to the amplitude of message signal. That is it, very simple. Like, what is amplitude modulation? The amplitude of the carrier signal is varied with respect to the instantaneous values of the message signal. Whereas, pulse amplitude modulation, the amplitude of the pulse signal is varied, like the amplitude of the pulse signal is varied amplitude of the message signal. Now, this is a simple definition of pulse amplitude modulation. We will see diagrammatically, we will see the pulse amplitude modulation in the form of signals. Now, this is the message signal m of t, and this is the x axis is time, y axis is amplitude. Now, and now this is the carrier signal. Carrier signal should be in the form of pulse, and there is a time axis, x axis is time, y axis is amplitude. And now, if you just multiply the message signal and carrier signal, we are going to achieve the pulse amplitude modulation signal. You just multiply. I have a signal here, I will get the output. I do not have any signal in this duration, no, I do not have any signal here. So, wherever carrier pulse is there, this is t, 2t, Now, if you see the pulse amplitude modulated signal, the amplitude of the carrier signal is varied. The amplitude of the carrier signal is varied with respect to the message signal, with respect to the amplitude of the message signal. That is it, very simple. If you see the modulated signal, right, if you see the modulated signal, the peaks which are representing our modulating signal. It's just simple. The amplitude of the carrier is varied with respect to the amplitude of the message signal. That is it. And now we are going to see how we are going to get pulse amplitude modulation signal using the elements. Now we will see the generation of pulse amplitude modulation using lumped elements: base, collector and emitter. Now this is the emitter follower configuration or common collector circuit, right. So I have given two signals at the base, one is message signal and another one is carrier signal, carrier pulse. I am drawing here carrier pulse. So this peak I am representing with plus V and the bottom one I am representing minus V. Now I am assigning some values to plus V. Plus V is nothing but I am giving 5 volts, minus V is nothing but I am giving minus 5 volts. That means the pulse is varying from minus 5 volts to, the pulse is varying from plus 5 volts to minus 5 volts. Now I am giving plus 5 volts at the base, that means highly positive voltage. When I give highly positive voltage at the base, the transistor goes to saturation and the device act as a closed switch. That means the transistor act as a closed switch. Whatever the input wave I have given, which comes out, the message signal comes out. And now if I give the minus V at the base, the transistor goes to cutoff mode, that means open switch, no signal comes out. When the transistor acts as a open switch, the message cannot go to output. When the transistor is closed switch, the message moves to V out. Very simple. If I give 5 volts at the base, the message signal goes to V out. If I give minus 5 volts at the base, transistor act as a cutoff mode, transistor operates in cutoff mode, then no signal goes. So whenever plus 5 volts at the base, I am getting input, and minus 5 volts at the base, I do not get the input. Very simple circuit to generate pulse amplitude modulation. Okay. Now we will move to demodulation of pulse amplitude modulation, again a simple circuit, a sample and holding circuit and a low pass filter. Using these two blocks, I can demodulate the pulse amplitude signal, right. Now the input is pulse amplitude modulated signal. Now I have given to a 0th order of holding circuit, right. This is a holding circuit. Holding circuit consists of a switch and a capacitor. Now this is a signal I have given at the holding circuit. During pulse duration, the switch is closed, the capacitor is charged, and now when no pulse duration, the switch is opened. Now the capacitor is discharging. Now this is a discharging. This is how it will discharge. And again new pulse came, switch is closed, capacitor charges, now no signal, switch is opened, capacitor discharges, and again signal, capacitor charges, and again no signal, capacitor discharges. Now, this is the kind of output I am going to get after the sample and hold circuit, or simply a holding circuit. Now, this is the kind of pulses I will get, but the real PAM signal is the green color indicates the PAM signal. This is the PAM signal I have given at the input side. After sample and hold, I will get this one, the black color one, charging, and during this time it is discharging and again charging. 1 is charging, 2 is discharging. 1 is charging, 2 is discharging. Now, this is the kind of signal I am going to get the output of the holding circuit, and by using a simple low pass filter or peak envelope detector, right, I am going to achieve the demodulated signal. Using simple low pass filter or a peak envelope detector, I am going to achieve the original message signal. Now, this is the original message signal. Very simple. Using a common collector or emitter follower circuit, I am going to achieve, or I am going to get pulse width modulation, and a simple holding circuit and a low pass filter, I am going to demodulate the PWM signal. A simple common collector or emitter follower circuit, I am going to generate pulse width modulation, and again a simple holding circuit and a low pass filter, I am going to demodulate the signal. So, the generation and reconstruction is very simple and very easy in pulse amplitude modulation, right. So, this I can correlate with the amplitude modulation in the continuous wave modulation. This I can correlate with the amplitude modulation, because there the amplitude of the carrier signal is varied, here the amplitude of the pulses is varied, right. And now, when it comes to advantages, both modulation and demodulation are simple, just now I quoted, and construction is also very easy. Using a common collector and switch capacitor, right, we can construct the transmitter as well as the receiver circuits. And when it comes to disadvantages, the amplitude of the pulses is varied, that means change is in the amplitude of the carrier signal. Now, the noise effect is very high in the amplitude. We are embedding the information in the amplitude of the pulses. Now, if the effect of noise very high for the amplitude. Now, the power requirement is also very high, because whenever the amplitude of the message signal is high and the whenever the amplitude of the message signal is very high, the amplitude of the modulated signal also high. That means power requirement is very high, that is one of the disadvantages. And finally, more bandwidth is required. One is high noise, one is more noise, power requirement is high, large bandwidth is required for the transmission. We will see some of the applications. Ethernet communication. Ethernet is used to connect the different systems, connect the various systems to transfer the data, right. There people will use pulse amplitude modulation, and microcontrollers to generate the control signals. Whenever we want to operate the external devices using the microcontroller, microcontroller has to generate the control signals, right, using this this control signals can be generated using pulse amplitude modulation, right. It acts as a electronic driver for LED circuits, and the functions and decorations, we mostly prefer the LED circuits, right. Those drivers, right, this PAM will act as a driver for the LED circuits. This PAM will act as a electronic driver for the LED circuits. So, to drive the LED network, we are going to use pulse amplitude modulation schemes. Now, the next modulation scheme is pulse width modulation. It is also very simple. The width of the pulse this is my carrier signal. Now, this is the PWM signal. The width of the pulse is varied. The width of the pulse is varied, you can see. In the PWM signal, the width is varied compared to the carrier signal. The width of the carrier pulse is varied proportional to the amplitude of the signal or amplitude of the message signal. The width of the pulse is varied proportional to the amplitude of the message signal. Very simple. The name says pulse width. Modulation is nothing but change. In pulse width modulation, width of the pulse is going to vary with respect to amplitude of the message signal. We will see the waveform. Message signal, carrier pulse, and this is the modulated signal. How the width is changed, that we will see. Whenever the message signal is high, the width is more. Whenever the message signal is high, the width is more. Whenever the message signal is low, the width is low. That is what proportional to the message signal. The width of the pulse is varied proportional to the amplitude of the message signal. If the amplitude is more, pulse width is more. If the amplitude is less, pulse width is less. Very simple. Right. So, the generation and reconstruction we will see in the unit 4. The advantage is low power consumption, whereas in pulse amplitude modulation, whenever the amplitude of the message is high, the PAM signal amplitude is high, right. The more power we are using to increase the amplitude of the signal, right. Here no need. The amplitude of the pulse is same. This is carrier signal, this is PWM signal. The amplitude of the pulse is same, only change is width of the pulse, that is it. There is no change in the amplitude of the pulse. Here if you observe amplitude, width, position. If we take this, if amplitude is changed, width no change, position no change. If the width is changed, amplitude no change, position no change. If one is variable, the other two is constant. If position is changed, width and amplitude should be a constant. Right. Here we are discussing about width, pulse width modulation, right? Amplitude, width, position. If the width is changed, the amplitude and position is constant, right? That is why the amplitude is constant, that is why it is low power consumption. The efficiency is about 90%, the noise interference is less. We are embedding the information in the width, not in the amplitude, right. So, whenever the message is embedded in amplitude, the effect of noise is more. Whenever the message is embedded in the time axis, the effect of noise is very low. That is why the pulse width modulation, the noise interference is very less, low power consumption, 90% effective, and noise interference is very less. You will see the next one, the disadvantages. In pulse amplitude modulation, the generation and demodulation schemes are very simple, the circuits are very simple, whereas the circuit is very complex and it is inexpensive, right, and it is, I am sorry, the circuit is more complex and it is expensive as it uses semiconductor devices, more semiconductor devices like 555 timers, right. That is why it is expensive, and switching losses will be more due to high PWM frequency. This means sometimes the width is high, sometimes the width is low. That means the time duration is changes. Whenever the time duration is changes, the frequency of the PWM is also changes, right. That is why the switching losses for the high frequency. Whenever the high frequency changes occurs, the switching losses is more in the devices, right, in the semiconductor devices. Right. It comes to applications, encoding purposes in the telecommunication systems. We have seen in what is encoding process in the unit 1, and use it to control the brightness of lighting system. Let us take LED. If the pulse width is more, the intensity of the LED is more. The pulse width is less, the intensity of the light is less, right. We can use again this in, right, LED systems, and we can control the speed of the stepper motor, and more pulse width, more speed, and more time it can be operated, less pulse width, less time, less speed it is operated, right. And the final modulation scheme we are going to discuss in analog pulse modulation techniques, that is pulse position modulation. You know pretty well the definition. The position of the pulse is varied with respect to the amplitude of the message signal, that is it. The position of the pulse is varied with respect to the instantaneous values of the message signal. The amplitude of the pulse is varied, pulse amplitude modulation. If the width of the pulse varied, if the amplitude of the pulse varied, pulse amplitude modulation. If the width of the pulse varied, pulse width modulation. If the position of the pulse varied, pulse position modulation. Very simple. We are going to see the signals. This is a message signal and the carrier signal. To generate the pulse position modulation, prior we have to generate pulse width modulation. From the pulse width modulation, we are going to get the, or we are going to generate the pulse position modulation, right. As a carrier, whenever the message signal is high, width is high. Whenever the message signal is more, width is more. Whenever the message signal is high, width is high. Whenever the message signal amplitude is low, width of the pulse is low. That is what pulse width modulation. From this, we are going to generate pulse position modulation, right. So, we are going to extend the edges of the pulse width modulation, right, where pulse position means only position will vary, the width is same as carrier width. Only position will be vary, width and amplitude is constant in the pulse position modulation. Only position is varied, whereas width and amplitude is constant here, right. And now from the edge, we are going to plot the one pulse, and from this edge we are going to plot the another one, right. Whenever the message signal amplitude is high, the position change is high. You can see the position change is high. Whenever the message signal amplitude is low, the position change is low. In the pulse position modulation, width never change, amplitude never change, only the pulse from here. So, now this is the position of the pulse. In pulse position modulation, this is the actual position of the carrier pulse. Due to shift in amplitude, the maximum amplitude, this was shifted. Now, this position is changed. Now, this is moved to here, place 1 to place 2, right. This is moved from position 1 to position 2, right. So, if the message signal amplitude is high, the more position, right, more distance it will displace. If the message signal amplitude is less distance it will displace, right. The position change is less, here the position change is high, right. If you see the position change is high in position 1 and position change in low in case 2. The position change is high in case 1, the position change is low in case 2, right. If we compare with the amplitude of the message signal, the amplitude is very high, that is why position change is more. The amplitude is low, that is why position change is low. Again, the width and amplitude are constant in pulse position modulation, the only change is position. Now, it will move. Now, the position, that means T, 2T, 3T, right. Only this position is changed, right. 2T position is changed, 3T position is changed. Only the T, 2T, 3T positions are changed. The width and amplitude are constant here. We will see the advantages of pulse position modulation. A constant amplitude, the noise interference is less, the message is embedded in the position, not in the amplitude and width. As the amplitude of the ppm is constant, the noise interference is less, and we can easily separate a signal from the noisy signal, because the same pulse which is used at the transmitter side has to be used in the receiver side. So, synchronization is required in these circuits. So, we can easily separate the noise signals. Among three types, it is more power efficient because the width and amplitude never change, hence it is more power efficient. Disadvantages, again the system is highly complex, the design is very complex, and again the system requires more bandwidth. PAM, PPM systems require more bandwidth, compared to PWM. We will see some of the applications. The PPM signals will be used in air traffic control. The person who is sitting inside the airport is the person who is sitting the airport, which sends the signal to the aircraft or pilot inside the aircraft, right, for safe landing. So, people the systems we are using the PPM. The pulse position modulation is used in air traffic control to send the signal to the pilot in the aircraft for safe landing, and we can use to compress the data. The same pulse position modulation, we can use the same pulse position modulation we can use to compress the data, and this we can use in storage devices. The major applications are air traffic control and storage devices. And we are going to compare the three modulation schemes: PAM, PWM, PPM. The first parameter is varying parameter. Now, we are going to compare the three techniques: PAM, PWM, PPM. The first comparison is varying parameter. In PAM, amplitude is varied, amplitude of the pulse is varied. In PWM, width of the pulse is varied. In PPM, position of the pulse is varied, as we know. Immunity towards noise. The message embedded in the pulse of the amplitude, that is why very low. Effect of noise is very high. Immunity towards noise is low. And both are high because the message is embedded in the time domain. Here it is width, it is position, right. That is why PWM and PPM are highly immune to noise. Signal to noise ratio is very poor in PAM, moderate in PWM, comparatively high with respect to PWM. And transmitted power is variable because amplitude is fluctuated in PPM, width is fluctuated in PWM, it is also variable, and here it is constant. Only position is varied, right. On time is not varied, only position is varied, right. That is why transmitted power is constant in PPM, that is why it is transmitted power is constant in PPM, right. Bandwidth requirements are high in PWM, high in PPM. Compared to these two, this is very less. Compared to these two, the bandwidth requirement is low in PAM. We have discussed PAM bandwidth requirement is high, but when I compare with PWM and PPM, the PAM is very less. A similarity of implementation compared to continuous wave modulation, it is similar to AM, similar to FM, similar to PM, right. And synchronization between the transmitter and receiver, when we recall the amplitude modulation, the same carrier is not required to use at the receiver side in amplitude modulation, whereas in frequency modulation or DSBSC, SSBSC, the same carrier has to be used at the receiver side. That is what synchronization. The carrier used at the transmitter side has to be used at the receiver side. That is what the synchronization means. Synchronization is not needed in the both PAM and PWM, and synchronization is very much needed at the pulse position modulation because the position is varied, right. So, that is why the pulse used at the transmitter side the same pulse we have to use at the receiver side, that is why synchronization is needed for the PPM.